Good morning. Jason Acock,
Here.
Juliet Cassain, Trent Clark. Are the mics not on? No. Jackie Didakis,
Here.
Jay Dufour,
Present.
James Edwards,
Here.
Fritz Imball, Andrea Ford, Ken Jones,
Here.
Brian Knox,
Here.
Nick LeBlanc, Pat McCormick,
Here.
PJ Odom,
Here.
Rodney Taylor,
Here.
Charles Visser,
Here.
Michael Witch. We have a quorum. I'll come take a look at them.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may share a mic. Yep. Thank you. Ooh, that's loud. All right, so thank you everybody for coming today. We're going to move directly into agenda item A, which is consideration of the February 3rd LSU CCC meeting minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those? Is there any comments on those? Get a motion to approve?
Motion.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Rod.
Rodney made the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item B, welcome introduction, Mr. Hassert.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. I don't think that we have anything outside of the agenda today. There are a few other bills that came up since the agenda's been published. I just want to make you aware of.
Will you be sending those out or have Tara send those out?
Tara will send them out as soon as I give her my scribble note of all the
Perfect. Thank you.
numbers.
All right. Item C, public comment, any non-agenda items? Is there anyone from the public that would like to bring anything before this commission? Hearing none, move on. Unfinished business to item D, wind mitigation surveyor qualifications. Mr. Dacus, if you could speak on this a little bit specifically about Rule 705 subsection E.
Absolutely, and I will probably phone a friend, Mike Witch, in the course of talking about this. This came up last time in our meeting. The current language we have in our rules as far as how you qualify as a wind mitigation surveyor actually refers to things that don't exist anymore. So we're trying to go through a process to make it easier and more streamlined. So the proposed language we have come up with is a wind mitigation surveyor shall be a specialty classification that can be applied for as a building code enforcement officer or a third-party provider. In order to qualify as a wind mitigation surveyor, the applicant must have passed the ICC International Code Council Residential Building Inspector B1 certification or have obtained certified building official or master code professional certification from the ICC and remain in good standing. A wind mitigation surveyor's specialty classification may be obtained without ICC certification if the applicant is a Louisiana licensed architect or engineer.
The only comment I have on that, Jackie, is I just want to clarify. Currently, I think the way that the law is interpreted, and I think it's a change from what we've done originally, is that a home inspector that's taken certain classes as well and has an insurance component of $300,000 is allowed to do them as well. Is this going to remove their ability to do them? or should we include them as well? I just ask that there seems to be an industry associated with doing that. There seems to be qualified, capable, insured individuals, and they're requiring some specialty training for it. I just think it should be at least considered in the rule. I'm certainly not trying to write it, that we keep them in as well as expand it to allow the individuals that are certified today to inspect an entire house, including the roof, and certify it. I mean, clearly they should be able to do this, right? I think everybody in this commission agrees with that. But I do think that it's prudent to at least consider the existing home inspectors, insured, qualified, and specialty class requirements to allow for them to continue to do these. As we are looking to do this across the state, this is a good thing. Insurance recognizes it, obviously. Commissioner of Insurance obviously pushes this largely. I think this is a good beneficial thing, and I would hate to see that removed without at least having some discussion on it.
I think that's fair.
Mr. Witch, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any objection to adding, those requirements that were in there previously. If you're a home inspector licensed through Louisiana State Board of Home Inspectors and you possess the certificate of completion for the 2006 IRC Hurricane Resistant Residential Construction Program. I don't think that's offered anymore, but if you did it in the past, I don't have a problem with that.
Mr. Roberts, if I could ask a question of you, sir. Is there an updated course for that would be specific to those wind provisions that was available in the 06 testing, or is that something ICC's kind of moved out of?
At this time, there's not an updated. It's class. There's not an updated class for that now.
Okay.
It's still in the 2006. We can make a request to ICC training to update the class to say the 2024.
Okay. And you look, as you know, everybody in this commission is aware, a large task that we have is an educational component. So I think that as we progress and move this commission in its new direction, that may be something that we want to try and partner, obviously, with ICC to host or to facilitate that. Again, I do think that if we have some existing qualified inspectors doing it, it would be prudent to continue to allow them to do that. And I think that it would be prudent to have, again, some additional training if ICC offers that in our state.
So I'd be happy to go to the training department if you'd like and make a request.
If you would, I would appreciate it, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we haven't presented this officially yet. Are we expecting to do that at the next meeting, or? I'm just trying to get duties and
Tara, what would you say our
responsibilities in play.
timeline would be on adopting this? I would think we probably want to give everyone a month to review so they can come and provide some public comment next month.
Yeah, I believe if I get this submitted in April, because I'll have to do a fiscal and tax statement. So if we're looking at April, it'll go into effect in July,
Potentially.
potentially.
Mr. Witch?
I don't know if I need a motion or anything like that, but I guess I will, just so we can see if everyone agrees. I'll make a motion to add the language for the licensed home inspector to the language that was read aloud.
Motion by Mr. Witch, seconded by Ms. Cassane. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. If there's nothing further on there, is there any comment from the public regarding this agenda item? Yes, ma'am.
Just for our awareness, would it be possible for Ms. Rivette to have for us at our next meeting under discussion the list of current wind mitigation surveyors, so we would know how many people would be potentially affected by this rule change, or if everyone currently on that list would still be in compliance?
I think it'd be a very wise decision. We'd ask that of you, Ms. Rivette, if you could provide that to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move into new business at this point. Specifically, we received a resolution, so I'm just going to read this. Review and consideration of resolution number 53-2025, adopted by Beauregard Parish Police Jury. Let me get that pulled up. Tara, is that on our screen here, or can we have it up? So while that's getting pulled up, I believe this was forwarded out to the entirety of the council. I do think that at a point we need to provide a response probably to these agenda items in this resolution by Beauregard Parish. I think that some of it may need best to come from committee, and then as a whole body, we probably need to as well. There's a few components in it that are somewhat concerning. Specifically, a few are mandated by revised statute, so well outside of our authority. And then again, we can go through them individually. to say I'm not going to read the entire resolved portion, but let's get into respectfully request the governor of the state of Louisiana, Louisiana Licensed Board of Contractors, and the LSU CCC recognize and empower local authorities with discretion over the enforcement of Uniform Construction Code to allow flexibility in application and enforcement. It appears to read that they're looking for an ability to amend building code. Current statute would not provide an allowance for that. I don't know that we'd have the legal authority to provide that. Additionally, I don't know if it would be prudent. So I do think that we need to think about this and give a consistent, clear response to these items, and we need to take it seriously. This is an elected body, and I think that that's significant. But also, there's just some of these are just well out of our control. Again, item 2, if you see it on the screen regarding NEC 210.11C4, urging the elimination of the requirement for 2-plug home run circuits in garages, thereby allowing homeowners to determine their own electrical and motor vehicle needs rather than mandating specific vehicle fueling infrastructure. So that specific comment I'd like to refer to our NEC committee to review specifically for that. I think there may be some confusion in that as to their interpretation, that we may be able to help provide them some clarification. Item 3, request the ability to opt out of NEC 23085, which requires 200 amp main electrical disconnect, particularly in cases where such disconnects allow third parties to turn off power in non-emergency situations, such as vandalism or pranks, which can negatively impact homeowner safety and concern. I think additionally with this should be sent to the NEC committee to review as well. 4, we advocate for the ability to opt out of blow door testing requirements of IRC Section N 1102.4.1.2, where homeowners or contractors deem such tests unnecessary or burdensome. I think we need to send this to our energy committee. That one of the specific things about this test is that if you remove blower door testing, you oftentimes can negate quite a bit of the energy code itself, as mandated by the legislature. Additionally, you can create an environment where you have less than 3 air changes per hour, which can dramatically impact air quality and health, specifically as it relates to off-gassing. Item 5, request the discretion be exercised in setting the R value requirements for insulation generally and duct insulation in attics, particularly as provided in IRC section in 1102.1.3, taking into consideration the insulation method used, the specific circumstance of home, and other factors, rather than rigidly applying a standard that may significantly increase framing construction costs to homeowners. Again, I'd like to refer this to our energy committee, and specifically, I want to remind the committee that certainly knows better than me that there is a performance path within the code itself that does allow for dramatic flexibility within the code. Item 6, we recommend the reconsideration of the requirement of Louisiana Revised Statute 37-2156.4 that all roofing work over $7,500 be performed by a licensed contractor, which unnecessarily increases costs to homeowners and fails to adequately address legitimate concerns related to bad actors in the roofing industry. I don't know that our group would have any comment on this. I think this may have been directed closer to LSLBC, who were mentioned. They separated some of these things. I don't think that we need to comment on that further or push that to committee. Is there any comment on this?
Mr. Chair, if I could make a request.
Yes, sir.
When y'all determine what your comments are, do you think it would be appropriate that we could combine the contractors board comments with your comments, and I could sign off on both of them representing both groups? It would be your wording. But
yes, sir. I think that would be the best way to just have a clear, concise response.
Yeah, and I can tell you the board's position is very similar to what yours is. It's statutory, and kind of the, as far as the 37-2156 issue is, that's been the law since 2009, I believe. So
okay,
we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Appropriate. Is any comment from the public on this? No further comment from the board? All right, we're going to move on to the next agenda item, 2026 legislative session. I'm not going to request an amendment to the agenda. I do want to discuss these very briefly, as I suspect we need to kick these to committee as well. There's been quite a few bills introduced at the early filing, and I think we'll continue to see a handful more come through. Most of them seem to be centered around fortified construction requirements, either as a practice or a standard throughout the state. I think y'all have been provided with those. If we could just real briefly pull those up, I just want to give a real quick synopsis. for the board, the commission, as well as for the public.
The first one I have up on the screen is your Senate Bill 147.
So Senate Bill 147, and certainly everyone here is welcome to read it, and I think y'all have copies of this. If not, we can certainly get those to you. Is going to more or less require fortified roofs on residential property. Again, I think that we need to refer this to committee to review. I would like to remind everybody, even at the discussion we're about to have, to remember that these bills are provided by our legislature. We have some provisions that we're hoping to see accomplished in our legislature, so I would just ask that everyone please remain respectful with comments, whether we agree or disagree with the legislature, but just to understand that we need their support in our capacity as well. I think that Fortified as a program does a lot of really good things and is a good thing. I think there's some questions as to if we want to have an outside agency standard that doesn't go through the same vetting process that the ICC code cycle does on a national level in a very transparent place. And so I think that committees, as they consider this, need to consider that as well. I would ask that they do that. Specifically, we say that it needs to meet or exceed fortified roof standards. One of the things that I personally enjoy about the I-codes is they do this, right? Fortified is incredibly similar to our high wind standards. And so I think that we are able to enforce a lot of these requirements in there. But I do think, again, the committees need to look at this individually and send some comment back. If we could jump into 461, please, House Bill. So this one has quite a few provisions. I won't get too deep into it, as we're going to send it to committee as well. But provide verification and certain designation to provide for notification and provide that all related matters enacted by the legislature, mandatory adoption of certain nationally recognized codes and standards. Some of it is already in existing law, certainly. If we get down into the underlined section 1730-28.6, there's some language in there specifically that is going to allow for local jurisdiction to make a determination as to if fortified should be required in their jurisdiction. Some of the feedback I've received on this is from the construction industry specifically, with concerns of uniformity across the state and just understanding how to bid projects when this comes about. And although it does have to be done in a public fashion by ordinance, oftentimes contractors function within multiple jurisdictions and may not be as adept to local ordinance, specifically when in general, state statute has required all of those modifications to come out of this body. So again, we'll send that to committee to review that and then get a good response or a position as well. If we could move to 467. So again, I'm not going to get completely into this, but there's a coastal boundary zone that revised statute 49-214-24 has established. If any part of a community is located within that, it would require starting January 1st that the roof meets the fortified building standards set forth. I don't know if it's very clear as to if it would require to be certified by fortified or not. And I know that's been some concerns statewide, as there aren't. We know we have a building inspector shortage where we have a much larger fortified shortage in the state, and I don't know how that would impact that. I'm more specifically concerned when certifications are required during disaster events, as we are in a great need when 10,000 roofs have to come on. And Fortified is a great program, but it also does require some people to be there. Whereas one of the things our legislature has given us as a tool is we can allow in certain circumstances photographs specific for this. I don't know that Fortified is going to allow for that as well. So I just think that it's going to have some potential negative impacts, especially for disaster recovery, that may be worth commenting on. Again, we'll bring that to committee as well. Ms. Cassett?
Mr. Chair, just for clarification for the minutes, what committee are we referring these to?
These will go to the IRC committee. I apologize, as it all seems to be in residential in nature. I think it's going to go to the IRC. Thank you. Any comments from the public on this? Any discussion from the board? Ms. Devakis?
Yes, I just wanted to give a little bit of context that actually in the past, Julie Shiwu Woodard from Smart Homes America, which is one of the arms of the IBHS, has actually worked with us when bills like this come up. That the group behind Fortified has actually not taken the position that you should be required to build to Fortified. It's that it should be one of the options in the state. So we can also coordinate with her and the IRC committee to talk about this more closely. But she's actually been really complimentary on this in the past.
I think that would be very prudent to do. And look, I really want to say I think that the senators as well as representatives that are putting this forward are as concerned as all of us are with insurance, right? I think a lot of this just has to do with how do we entice insurance and get quality construction. And I think all of that's part of this component. So I don't think anything, even if we disagree, is negative necessarily. It's just everybody's trying to solve a similar problem with different methods. Mr. Witch?
Just so everybody's aware, our next IRC meeting is next Tuesday. I think it's at 9 or 9:30. I can't remember the exact time. But I know it's usually posted on the website. So anybody who's interested in taking part in that discussion around Fortified, we'll do that before we get into the rest of the review of the codes next Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Ms. Witch. Mr. Hassett?
Mr. Chair, if I could just remind the committee and the council in general, session starts, and I don't know particularly when these bills will be presented. So if you would like to offer some input to the to the legislative bodies, we need to have that wrapped up as soon as possible. And I'm not sure the process you'd like to go through that. Certainly, I don't think you want to wait till your next meeting. I'm sorry. I don't think you would want to wait till your next meeting to formulate a council decision to present. So maybe that could be shared via email with the group. Perhaps the committee could forward their words to you and or Tara, and it can be disseminated, and we can have a quick discussion with a timeline.
Thank you, Mr. Hazzard. I agree with that completely. Mr. Witch, I would ask that you do that, forward it through. Mr. Rivette, I would ask that you send it out for the full body as well, so that they're all aware of these changes or recommendations coming out of them. I agree. It does not necessarily, in this circumstance, warrant a full board comment on these meetings. I think the Beauregard issue is a little bit different, and that is going to be a little bit different of a circumstance, but for these in particular. Additionally, there's a lot of changes I just want to bring up as we're talking about the legislative session as it relates to the Code Council itself. A series of bills being filed. I know that we have been able to make some comment. Our legislative committee met 3 or 4 times in the past month to really try and dial in some things. Representative Landry is going to be filing a bill that has a lot of those provisions within it. I'm going to ask that if you have any comments for that we don't necessarily have to run that through a full meeting. We'll be here all day. But I do think that you should send those comments in to Tara. I would ask that you do not send them on an email with the entire board. I don't want a function of quorum, even in an email. I do want to make sure that we do get those comments in if any of you have any questions or concerns. And Mr. Rivette, I believe you sent out the most recent draft. So if you would comment on that, I think that there's a lot of value in that, specifically for representatives that are going to be running this bill. And just remind everyone that we don't have a bill. We don't have the ability to have a bill. The legislature provides bills. And so I'm just excited we're able to comment and hopefully make some changes. I don't like amendments to bill once they're filed. As many legislators often tell you, if you're making amendments, it's not ready. And I think that this is significant for our role in the state of Louisiana.
Mr. Chair, if I could just interject again and address the timeliness of this. Rep. Landry will be filing the bill. He's asked that we have all your suggestions to him no later than Friday morning.
Okay.
So again, we're on a very tight deadline. If anybody has comments, if they can get them out today or tomorrow to Tara, and they will be forwarded on.
Certainly. Thank you. And again, just to echo what we're saying is Friday she's got to have things sent in. So she has to have time to articulate this and not just forward a mass email from 17, 18 people. So I would ask, again, no later than close of business Thursday to give her a full Friday to submit these things out of respect for her time, as well as Representative Landry, who is certainly a partner with us. All right, any other discussions related to the 2026 legislative session?
Again, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. I just want to bring to your attention, I don't know it's particularly of interest directly to this council. Representative Fontenot's Bill 928 provides relative to commercial building codes. Essentially, it appears that the fire marshal is looking for the ability to do the plan review on all commercial structures. Just wanted you to be aware of that.
I appreciate that. I did have a conversation with Representative Fontenot specifically about that bill, and understand his intentions is to look for funding, certainly for the State Fire Marshal's Office, their review staff, as well as some requirements that may streamline some reviews statewide. I think that they're looking at some questions as it relates to coastal construction a little bit differently, maybe than throughout the rest of the state. And so I believe you'll see an amendment to that. But I also would like to bring everybody's attention, please pay attention to any of these bills. And if you have any comments for it, bring them into Tara so we can get them to appropriate committees. Mr. Witch?
I just want to make one comment on that bill. While I have plenty of opinions that I won't share today, the plan review fee is 30 cents a square foot, which is steep.
Certainly can be to the construction industry. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. If there's no other comments from the commission, are there any comments from the public regarding the 2026 legislative session? If not, we'll move on to agenda item G, reports. Legislative committee report. Same.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you addressed a lot of what I was going to say regarding the work of the legislative committee in the bill that Rep. Landry will be introducing. I just want to, on the record, thank all the committee members for their time. They were very willing to meet repeatedly in a very short period of time. And I want to publicly thank Tara for her work on this. She was right on the spot in making edits, getting us a new draft to have ready for our next discussion. And so I greatly appreciate her work and effort on that. So thank you, Tara.
Wonderful. Any discussion from the board on this?
And again, I want to reiterate, we hope we've done a thorough review, but we do ask that if you all have any additional comments, please get those to Tara timely so that we can get this bill filed.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? And if not, we're going to move on to G2, staff report. Mr. Hassert?
Your staff is working as hard as they can to keep up with y'all and try to keep you timely. That's about all that we have to offer at this point. I have not seen the latest version of your proposed legislation, or your suggested legislation, if you will. I'm going to take a swing through that today too, and we'll reach out as necessary. I've been assured by the legislative committee that you think you've got it all covered, and I would just like to remind everyone on the council who has not had the privilege of dealing with such a process as of yet, whatever you submit, be prepared for them to change. And we'll have to go address that and pick our battles, if you will.
Yes, sir. All right. Close that up. All right. If there's no other business, no problem from the public, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Embo,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Trent. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.